What's up, guys? Welcome back to the shop. So in this episode, we're going to be doing a recap of everything we've done in Project Prelude to bring you back up to speed. For the last couple months, I haven't recorded a lot because I've been doing super boring stuff. Stripping bumpers, boring. Painting bumpers, boring. Doing engine wiring harness and internal wiring harness, boring. Putting little knick-knack stuff on, boring. So I've condensed it all down into one recap episode so you guys can see what we have done to Project Prelude. As you can see, the engine is now in the car, the wiring harness is complete, all the bumpers are painted, all the body work is done. This thing is getting close to being ready to fire. So that being said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And if you're so inclined, check out FTPSpeedShop.com and hook yourself up with some merch. Let's get to the recap. I was able to get it into Ben's blast cabinet and got that pinch weld sandblasted all the way around. A little bit of residue from the weather stripping glue still, but I think I got all the rust, or a majority of it. A lot of the pitting on the edges, I got that taken care of, so we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it's time to put this thing in some high build primer so we can get to sanding it and body working it and get her sealed up. All right, guys, I have been DAing this thing with 80 grit sandpaper for, I don't know, half an hour, 30, 45 minutes, I don't know, somewhere in there. Got everything pretty well cut down, nice, close enough. I mean, there's still a little bit of base on here, but I'm not gonna take her all the way down because I don't want to work these areas too hard and deform the bumper. So still got to do a little hand sanding in these low areas in here. I can't get the DA in, but started doing that on all these. I'm going to go ahead and mix up some filler right here and fill in these low spots from where the car got backed into. And got a new bumper cover on the original one. Little spot here and right there. And then pretty good scratch right here, so we'll go ahead and put a little filler in that. While the filler's drying, I'll keep hand sanding all this stuff, come back, cut the filler with 80 grit, and then we'll start working on the back bumper. All right, we're back at it, and we are getting ready to spray coat number 2 on primer on this. We had to go ahead and straighten out the front a little bit of a high spot there, put a little more mud in that, had a few pinholes on the bumpers. This bumper had been smacked a little bit before, so I just had to tighten some of that stuff up, but hey, I think it's ready. I think it's ready for our next coat. It's gonna be good. We're gonna sand it out, and then hopefully we'll get some color on this thing maybe in a few days. So that's the goal. Let's squirt some scuzz and let's get this stuff done and back on the car because it's taking up too much room in my garage. It's about time to get some epoxy primer mixed up and get it sprayed on the engine and the trans and get these things painted to get them back in the car. Check out the motor. We got the block painted. We've got the mounting brackets painted. We even took the distributor apart, painted that. Got all the fuel injectors and fuel rails, wiring harness all on. There's the wiring harness mounted up in there, looking pretty good. The trans over here, we've got the we got everything painted up nice. I even blew the starter apart and painted all the parts on that in the shift fork. So things are starting to come together on this. It's just taking a little longer than I'd like. Oh man, we're fixing to shave a valve cover. Oh yeah, here we go, let's do this. So on the H22 valve cover, there's a couple little bung holes here that were raised areas right there. Went ahead and hit those with the die grinder, and we'll go ahead and smear a little mud on those and fill those holes in. This will probably take 2 coats. Then we got our sweet AEM intake from early 2000s Honda Prelude. Got some dimples right there. We're gonna go ahead and lay a little bit of mud on that because that will be painted blue to match the valve cover. We're not trying to make it perfect, but we're just trying to get it a little more pretty. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Got most of the interior back in this bad boy. I don't have front seats because the front seats that were for this are now in the Chevelle. I do have a set of blue seats up there that I'm going to put in for the time being. I guess I could always go put another coat of primer on the valve cover and the intake there. So I guess that's what I'm gonna do now. Bummer. All right guys, in the makeshift paint booth over here, because the Chevelle is buried back there with the motor torn out. Got the valve cover sprayed in this delicious blue color, but of course we got a little fuzzy right there in the front. So this thing's gonna go sit on the side and dry out, and I will sand that out and hit it with one more coat of paint. But since I'm bored tonight, I'm gonna go ahead and clear this intake pipe. So that's where we're at right now. What's up guys, welcome back to the shop. So in this episode, we're finally gonna tackle the engine harness on Project Prelude. We're getting so close to getting this thing running. I have a wire harness bulkhead right there, and it looks a little something like this. This all wires go in here, and then this plugs into the firewall, and then on the other side of the firewall, there's another piece, which I'm not sure where that's at the moment, but you can see that little hole right there. So it'll come through there. All our wires will be chilling right underneath the center console, and we'll tie it into this big blob of spaghetti. Ooh. I love getting shiny aluminum parts. They look so damn cool. I also didn't record any of this, but I did get all of the brake lines and clutch lines ran. I didn't go with the full wire tuck running it through the firewall. Just did a nice clean job down there. I figure it's going to be hard enough to see all that stuff once it's in there. When you're standing back here, you can really only see the stuff coming out of the master cylinder, so I figured that's going to be clean enough for me. But oh yeah. All right, so as we can see here, the engine is in. It is bolted into place with the new Hossports mounts. The intake pipe has been painted and installed. I had to cut and buff that. A little bit of orange peel on there. Probably still try to buff up on the valve cover a little bit too. Got our innovative traction bar set up in, and got our brake lines. And brake lines are completed. They need to be bled. And the clutch line I have running over there, and I'm not exactly sure where we're gonna stop it. I think what I'll probably end up doing is bringing the line right about here to that rear mount, and then having a rubber hose made to go from the factory hard line here to back there. So that way, if we do have to pull the motor out, we can just swing the slave cylinder out of the way. We did get the function form coilovers installed. Did that a couple months back. So that's should be good to go. We're waiting on fuel pressure regulator, fuel filter, and some hardline adapters to adapt over to AN steel braided line. It won't be a steel braided line, it'll be a cloth braid like we used on the Chevelle, but still fancier and prettier than just regular hard lines in the factory filter. Got the back bumper there sitting on the roof. That is ready to go in now that the lip kit is painted. I can get that screwed on, and then we can get this back bumper on, which is what we're going to tackle now, because let's get it off the car. All right, guys, that's going to be a wrap on the recap on Project Prelude. We are so close to getting this thing ready to fire, and I'm hoping like hell in the next 5 days we get this thing started. I don't have a lot to do. I got to finish the fuel lines, put oil in it, put fluid in the transmission, and get the axles put up, and this thing is ready to start. Hopefully it'll start and we won't have any issues and any wiring gremlins, but that's to be determined. So be sure to stay tuned to future episodes to hear this thing fire, because it's going to sound good. Thanks for watching.